segment ureteric defect demystifying the technique. Thank you, Arvind Kanpile sir, for giving this opportunity. There are a lot of etiology. This is again theory slide: malignancy, calculus, radiation, ischemia, avulsion, endometriosis, renal ablation injury, infection, like that. Are you able to listen me?
Yes, absolutely, loud and clear.
Yeah, we can.
Types of ureteral reconstructions are ureteroneocystostomy, psoas each, Boyari flap, ileal uter, auto transplant. Because this is a 12 minutes presentation, I will stick on to it. My aim is to talk only on Boyari flap. Assess the length of the defect and renal function are two important things. CT, MR urogram, MCUG, IVP, RGP, nuclear scan, all are important, have to be used appropriately. But I feel MR urogram can give a little bit of overall picture, but without nuclear scan in suspected cases, it is medico-legal. This is every student in MCH will remember this slide. Maximum length comes with Boyari flap other than ileal replacement. Now, auto transplant generally in private practice we will be hesitant to do, so we are left behind with Boyari flap and ileal ureter. Boyari flap. This is a wrong slide. In Boyari, you may, it depends on the how far you wanted to take the bladder. If it is to the upper end, then 2 port positions will be there. I will show that. Principles is same like any other surgery, tension-free anastomosis without ischemia. This is the standard slide. Ipsilateral superior vesical artery is most important. So ipsilateral side, don't go posteromedially. There is no need to lift the bladder. Bladder has to be on the floor. Opposite side also very rarely it is required. This is a primary concept. Either you can do tunneled into the mucosa or direct end to end. And contraindications are small bladder capacity and radiation. Complications like any anastomosis, it can stricture, it can have voiding difficulty if you use too much of the bladder, iliac vessel injury. Now my case is an interesting case. 37-year-old male patient underwent URSL with thulium fiber laser and entire ureter got strictured. I will not go into the surgery of the URSL video. This is the video after the surgery. Entire ureter is like burnt with a lot of flakes. Degestant could go easily, but strictured. At the end of the stricture, this is a nephrostogram. At PUJ level, it is strictured. At the mid-segment level, it is strictured. At the lower level, it is strictured. See, this is a port I wanted to show. Initially, like nephrectomy ports. Later, it is like radical prostatectomy ports. Should not be hesitant to dissect carefully. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of spasm, a lot of difficulty in retracting the abdominal wall to go to the pelvis. This is on the right side, it is the nephrectomy type of ports. On the left side, it is pelvic type of port. This is a video where initially I planned ileum replacement, but one of the seniors suggested that you mobilize the bladder flap. If it is falling short, use the ileum in that short period. With that intention, I started doing this case as Boyari flap. So these initial slides are not necessary. This is the port position. First, I started at the upper end. This is the liver, colon. I am reflecting the colon along with the appendix here. You can see this is the area of damage. Wherever a lot of adhesions are there, you have to go slowly. Don't open the pelvis and ureter there. Now, because this patient is on PCN, I did nephroscopy here to see the proximal dilated part. If you miss that, it is disaster. So nephroscope could clearly see, you switch off the lights, then this light is seen here. Guide wire is not going freely. That means that is the area where you have to dissect. Now I moved the ports to the pelvis where I mobilize the bladder. During mobilization of the bladder, you have to turn the camera 30 degrees up. Nice plane will be there below the transversalis fascia and below the anterior abdominal wall muscle. Now this is the psoas hitch. It was coming easily after mobilization. Extensive mobilization is done without cutting any artery. Now the gap between the proposed pelvis and the bladder is only 6 centimeters. So 6 plus 6, 12 centimeter, I was able to get easily. Then I decided that I will go ahead with the Boyari flap. One should be careful because it is irreversible damage to the bladder. While doing marking, it should be wide, 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 because by width, you will not lose anything. Minimum of 6 centimeters I have taken. Still people who are telling that it is not that wide. That is one point I have to notice. Then stretch and see it is coming to the upper part of the kidney. Another important point is when you are suturing the bladder, making the tunnel, stretch. If you don't stretch, you will lose the bladder length. Every time you taking, see, one of the port is stretching the walls. Now, as I come towards the kidney, when I am making a tunnel, you have to stabilize it. To stabilize that, you have to take a stay stitch in the superiormost part of the kidney and then fix it. Now it is fixed. This should come without traction. Now a thick feeding tube will keep you everything in line. Unlike the stent, this feeding tube can be removed easily. It ensures that 10 French lumen you are giving. Lumen is not a problem usually. So edge to edge mucosa and the detrusor muscle have to be taken. Interrupted, it will take time. That's why VLOC 20 is a very good stitch. Bladder is a vascular structure. In the last part, when the anastomosis, then only I am opening the pelvis to avoid spillage of the contaminated urine. This is the strictured part. Urine is not coming. Now I switched on the water from the nephrostomy tract. It is coming. So like pyeloplasty, I am giving an oblique incision so that as much as width possible, it is there. Pelvis looks little white, whereas bladder looks little red. I am taking 4 stitches on the floor to interrupted stitches, no continuous stitches here, because any disruption will lead to the complete disruption. Proper 4 thick bites. While doing this, bladder was bleeding, not dusky. So with this, I was confident that I am going ahead in a normal direction. Like any other stent, we put through the suction cannula. Now I am taking interrupted lateral bites. This should come freely. At this point, if you have traction, then you have to do renal descensus, which will get another 3 to 4 centimeter. But everything was loose. So 20 I have used because both the tissues were thick, and this needle is one of the best needle laparoscopy. You can take the bites wherever you want. I have taken 2-3 catgut submucosal stitches here so that they go inverted, not everted, so that leak can be avoided. Such a long suturing where it has gone into the pelvis, you should not get any leakage. This is the final picture where bladder is there. This is the tube. It should freely move in the abdomen. When you lift it, see, this is the tube. It's the kidney and the pelvis. Now here it is, this much lifting is there. Fortunately, this patient is doing well. Now case 2, 30-year-old female patient, right loin pain. Oophorectomy is done. Whenever you see such type of picture, you think that you can get away with the ureteric reimplantation direct. It is not possible because ureter is a straight structure. Ischemia will be there. This is a video showing same type. I will fast forward. This is my last video. After that, I will take 2-3 minutes only. So this female patient came with the ureteric stricture. Now I am mobilizing. One important thing is that once the ureter is seen, better cut with the Caesar. In the other case, ureter is not important, but here ureter is very important for me. It may bleed. This is the SPICE HD camera, which looks more red. No problem. As long as the planes you can identify clearly, you cut with the Caesar, and only a sputters should be coagulated. Otherwise, the rest of the bleeders naturally will get seized off after some time. Once, how to identify the strictured part? Give Lasix, or if you have nephrostomy for it, this is the uterus. See, here it is obstructed. So go 1 to 1.5 centimeter above that. Never anastomose, never cut at the strictured area and extend it, because anastomosis will restricture. Now the bladder is mobilized extensively like that. A good plane will be there. Majority of the people thinks it is maybe difficult, but it is the easiest part. Now you take the psoas. This is difficult because the bladder will be under traction. So one more port can be put, and ureteric catheter is always better to mark the length between your stricture. Now this is the breadth, approximately 6-7 centimeters. Full bladder you have to do it so that you can identify where it is coming. Initial cases, I have used harmonic and dissected the wall. Now I feel that we should not do it. Entire the wall as well as mucosa, if you keep intact, it will not get retracted while suturing. This is not may not be correct. If you use directly Caesar after initial marking, that is better. Especially the distal part, you should not coagulate, because that is the one which is going to anastomose. See, posterior to bladder, you will never go. Now I am using the Caesar or hook. See, hook transmits less energy than harmonic in certain times. This I might have avoided hook, I might have taken Caesar. Now with this completion, I will go like same thing, Soyas hitch. And in this case, I have put traction like this. This I wanted to show. You take a bite after the traction so that you don't lose the length of the bladder. Now I am putting 2-3 interrupted in this case so that you will not misalign the suturing. See, 4-5 I have put, after that feeding tube you keep, and then nicely continuous suture with 2-lock can be done. Now I am doing with 2-lock. You can take forward bite or reverse bite depending on your right hand movement comfort. So this is absolutely opposite side pelvic surgery. So if you have any difficulty in port, you have to change the port. Now continue with this. At the end, when you are doing this tubularization, in the last you keep oval part much more length than required, so that you can put a horizontal bite later. See, now my stay stitch is helping. The extra mucosa I have cut it off. Whichever is dusky, brown, don't take that. Better to mobilize the ureter a little bit, 1 or 2 centimeters. So this is the ureteric spatulation. You have to do wide spatulation. Wide means not too wide, enough, because too much wide is also not used. One stay stitch first you will have difficulty. Even this much traction is not necessary. But see, I'm lifting now. If that play is there, probably you will be better. If play is not there and cut, it is like a rod, then it is not good. After this all done over the feeding tube, now putting the stent is tricky. You have to remember this 2 mark. Slowly you have to see, slowly 1 millimeter without unnecessary urgency. If you put, then only it will go. Otherwise, sometimes we spend half an hour only in putting the stent only. Now this is the obliquity which we see, and carefully identifying the stent every time and complete the anastomosis. At the end, you have to lift it, and if it is playing like this, it is better. This patient is also doing well. So now iliac ureter I am not going to talk. Only thing is that it can give long length. Ports can be different anyway. Both the sides can be done. Bilateral defects can be done. Montes is very important, like everybody knows. Cut vertically, suture horizontally, less mucosa will be there, long length will come. So with this, I do not waste time because that is not my talk. Post-operative care, always DJ stent, nephrostomy, periurethral catheter should be given. Complications like in either of the case, anastomotic leak can occur. So to conclude, lap ureter reconstruction is reasonably good, especially Boyari flap. Do not hesitate in a mid-segmental or lower upper part of the sacrum. If the stricture is there, always consider Boyari, because if you forcibly pull the ureter and put it into the bladder, they fail. Bladder should come to the ureter. Without teamwork, all this cannot be done. Dr. Ramakrishna, senior urologist, Dr. Swami, senior urologist, Dr. Manas, Dr. Hemnath and Soundarya are my team. These are my 2 hospitals. And next week, we are doing with under the team leadership of Dr. Sanjay Kulkarni and Dr. Pankaj Joshi. We are doing A to Z urethroplasty. Hope we will see you again next Saturday, apart from today's conference. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Over to Arvind, sir.
Wonderful, Dr. Chandramohan. You just answered 2 quick questions which have been asked in the chat box. One is that how do you measure the length of the stricture, and what are your views on refluxing versus non-refluxing anastomosis?
Sir, length should be measured preferably if it is nephrostogram is there and RGP, that is the best way, like in stricture urethra what you do, or else MR urogram gives idea. On the day of surgery, RGU, I feel, is very essential to plan the surgery. And second question, I prefer to do non-anastomotic if the patient comes with the primary obstructive ureter. If the patient comes with a non-refluxing ureter when you are doing reimplantation, that question does not arise. We have to do a proper tunnel. But in Boyari flap, there is I always do non-refluxing, because the detrusor muscle, when it contracts, usually reflux is less. We are not having major problems in short series of 15 patients which I have done.